What's happening, everyone? The transfer window is closed, so we now know exactly what we're dealing with. Helping me go through our brand new predictions with new information is the one, the only, the icon that is Mr. Thogden. Thog, an honour to welcome you onto the channel.
Great to be back on the channel. Hopefully the comments don't roast me as much as last time. I think it's a great time you're doing this video though, because the international break has arrived, so we've got 2 weeks to really analyse every club and figure out where they're finishing this year.
Exactly, and now the transfer window is closed, we pretty much know what we're dealing with. You know, there's not going to be many surprises. We know that certain transfer windows are still open, but I think generally speaking, the squads that are assembled today are the squads that are going to propel these teams to glory or to complete and utter disaster.
However, we're going to agree on 20th here, right?
I think so. I think certain parts of the table don't actually have any. They don't have any issue, do they? Like
No.
certain things we just know. There's no negotiation. There's nothing to discuss. Luton are going to be bottom of the league.
They're gone. They're gone by Christmas, mate.
It's a shame as well because I would really like them to survive, you know.
I
love
love
the
Kenilworth
story.
Road.
I love Kenilworth Road. I like the story. Also, you've got to remember, like Luton, I think to a generation, to say your generation, you only know Luton as a lower league team.
Yeah, well, the funny thing is, I was speaking with my mate who's a Barnet fan, lives near me, and he said, oh, just a few years ago, we were going away Luton away, and now they're in the Prem. It just shows, it gives hope for everyone in National League. But remember, you can make a run like Luton Town.
No, they can do it. They are an inspiration. But remember, Luton were one of the founding members of the Premier League. Like, they never played in it, but you know, like the concept of the Premier League, they went down the year before the Premier League came into existence. But in terms of like forming the Premier League, they were about.
It's crazy that. I didn't even know that. So they were in First Division.
Yeah, I remember when Chelsea, in '94, Chelsea got to the FA Cup final. Manchester United beat us 4-0, Cantona, 2 penalties. But we played Luton in the semi-final of the FA Cup.
I love that. Stories like that, great. And as you said, mate, like they're going to get some good Premier League money. They've come up to the First Division with... they haven't overspent. They haven't had rich owners. They've done it properly.
And old-fashioned as well.
Old-fashioned.
2 up front. Yeah. Crazy gang stuff.
Playoff win.
Yeah.
Cause the upset. You know, to think that day we could have had Coventry or Luton in the Prem. Ridiculous.
Amazing.
But this year, I just think they're not as strong.
They could go and come back.
Exactly. If they not become a yo-yo, but more the fact that they come back with a stronger team and maintain the quality.
Exactly.
19th place.
I am going for Sheffield United.
Yeah, I agree.
I just think that the club aren't set up. I think they're doing really well. They've got passionate support, but the club aren't set up to be in the Premier League. You know, they sold their best player. They lost a lot of their influential players last year. And, you know, if they didn't come up, I dread to think what could have become of them because their finances are just all over the place.
Well, to sell is bad, but to sell to a competitor who's also in a relegation battle, Burnley, Sander Berge deal, didn't make any sense to me. Reluctantly accepting a deal for Illiman and Dyers, they tweeted, Sheffield United, we agree on 19th. They're just not, these two teams, it's simple reasoning, they're just not strong enough.
They're just not strong enough, yeah.
And
also they could go and come back.
Yeah, but they played some good football, Everton at home. Yeah. And maybe if they build on that, you know,
you never know.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
In terms of my final team for relegation, I think this is going to surprise a few and may even surprise you, Thog. Everton Football Club are finally going to go down.
What?
They are. They are going to go down because, look, you cannot constantly flirt with relegation. You cannot constantly nearly go down, get away with it, last kick of the game effectively, get away with it, last moments of the season, survive, have those glorious moments of survival. Frank Lampard on the pitch celebrating, Sean Dyche on the pitch celebrating, and then start the season really badly and rinse and repeat consistently. Ultimately, it will get you. And I basically think Sean Dyche is getting away with it. The squad aren't good enough. They are one of the worst run clubs in the history of worldwide football. And ultimately, their transfer window has been fairly uninspiring. Yeah. And this year, they will go.
You've got some great reasoning, mate. The only thing I think will keep them up is Beto, their new signing. I've got good faith in him. Their home form, we will need to improve from what we've seen. And I know you spoke on my channel. We did a reacting to Game Week 4 predictions. You can check that out. Little mention. But, of course, you mentioned that Sean Dyche is becoming more of a problem than he is an asset for Everton Football Club. Yeah. I disagree. I think Sean Dyche, especially now with the international break, will figure it out. I think they've got more around their squad than they do the teams we already mentioned to get relegated. I'm not saying Everton to go down. My 18th place is Burnley Football Club. All 3 teams that went up are going down. Yeah.
So no survival story from the Championship. That's rare.
Well, all 3 teams have weakened coming into the Premier League. Maybe outside of Luton Town, but their story was just incredible. But Burnley, they've lost Maatsen. They didn't get him back on deadline day. Of course, they made quite a few signings, but I don't know how this team is going to gel under Vincent Kompany. I've not seen enough from the first few games where he's a good enough coach to bring in different plans to come up against, you know, they conceded 5 goals to Tottenham at home. 5.
And also, Turf Moor, what kept them up and what propelled them to relative success for so long under different managers was Turf Moor being difficult. Turf Moor being a tough place to go. Turf Moor being a little bit of a fortress. Tottenham going there and spanking them and conceding 5 is not acceptable. But I do think that Kompany I think he has enough about him.
Are we just saying this though because he's a legendary Premier League player?
And what they did last year.
Yeah, and what he did at Anderlecht.
Yeah.
I don't think we've got any basis to make that statement from what he's shown to us in the Premier League yet.
I
feel like we're just being nice to him because he had that moment where he scored that goal, won them the league and all of this for City. Yeah. So
who do you think just survives it?
I think Everton in my 17th place. You've brought it on nicely for me.
Oh,
Relegation
they're going to do it again.
Don't me. If I'm not having them 17th, where are they going to end up? Come on, 18th. I'm not putting them higher.
Going down.
I've already given my 18th. Everton are going to be in a relegation battle again, but they're going to find a way out.
So you think that Burnley are going to go? You think Burnley are less well suited to stay in the Premier League than Everton?
Tell me 3 forwards that are going to score goals for Burnley this season.
No, that's
Everton.
The lack of goals is a problem.
Calvert-Lewin, Beto, Dan Numa.
Yeah.
All 3 of them, at moments this season, have proven that they will score goals. Maybe Calvert-Lewin's going to be injured a lot, but if he can have anything like previous seasons, then that's just a bonus.
It's the back line for me at Everton.
Burnley have Lyle Foster, but he's the only man scoring their goals.
Everton's back line, if you look at the individuals, not Pickford, but if you look at the defenders that they have, this constant dedication from Dyche to go with Keane and Tarkowski.
Yeah.
It's a championship defence.
But they've got Branthwaite, and he's amazing at PSV, their player of the year last year. Him coming in as well. I think Everton have more depth than Burnley. Burnley have made a lot of new signings. I don't know where they're going to end up, but look, we can agree.
We'll agree to disagree.
Exactly.
We'll agree to disagree.
You're 17th.
Yes, I have gone for Wolverhampton Wanderers.
Wow.
I think Wolverhampton Wanderers just about get away with it.
Okay.
I think they've got a good manager in O'Neill, a manager that I like and respect. I think he did a great job with Bournemouth, and I think he will have learned from that. And I believe that he will just about keep Wolverhampton Wanderers in the Premier League.
I agree with you. I think Wolves will stay up, which is actually different from what I predicted before the season. Before I actually watched Burnley and thought I have to slide them down a few places. My 16th place. Should we move on to 16th?
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Wolves, as you just mentioned. I think they've got enough in them. They obviously lost Matheus Nunes to Man City. Wanky Chan's now scoring goals. Matheus Cunha got 1. Neto's back full fitness, got a couple assists against Palace. It's the defence that's the issue. They need to figure it out. They need to graft out some wins at home. I think they'll pick up enough 1-0s at home, like they did last season, to survive. 16th, who's yours?
I've gone for Forest.
Okay.
Which I think is incredibly complimentary. They're not in a relegation scrap.
Yeah.
I don't think they go. No matter what, I don't think they go. I think they've got an excellent manager, signed some very good players, have already accrued points that you wouldn't necessarily expect them to. And I think that they will be just fine.
I think you've been disrespectful to Nottingham Forest there.
What, 16th is too low?
Yeah. I think there should be at least a few places higher. They've done well to get Hudson-Odoi, Elanga in. Taiwo Awoniyi is a goal scorer. As we said, 6 in a row. That's not going to stop. They're confident. Steve Cooper's a great man manager. He's making the players happy. They're loving their life there. Even players that I thought were completely written off at Tottenham. Serge Aurier.
Yeah.
They're seeing a new light. They're playing back in the Premier League. Quality at wing back. So I think there are a few more places up. My 16th, as I said, was Wolves. You've gone for Forest. So who's your 15th?
15th, I've gone for... I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll do my 3 here. Okay. I've got Burnley 15th, Bournemouth 14th, Fulham 13th, Palace 12th.
Oh, wow.
I think that is the sort of perfect lower mid-table. All of those teams securing Premier League status, which I think is essential to them, particularly when you think of a club like Bournemouth. If they survive again, if they establish themselves as Premier League, not established Premier League team, but one of the teams that are less and less likely to go down.
Yeah,
it's a huge achievement for all of those teams that I've just mentioned to survive without any jeopardy. You know, if Fulham end up finishing 13th, that's nowhere near relegation.
Absolutely not.
So
and
that would be an
good
achievement.
Money as well on the books, selling
good
Mitrovic.
Money, yeah, they've brought in some good players as well.
Yeah,
and also the jewel in their crown. It's Marco Silva. While Marco Silva stays in that job, I think they're going to be fine.
Honestly, the fans should be screaming out to do everything to keep him. He's a genius with the players that they've got, continuously causing mad results, drawing to Arsenal away, beating Tottenham in the cup. Might have a cheeky cup run. I think Fulham are in a great position. I mean, you can lose Mitrovic and you can still score goals.
Yeah.
It shows that it's not just him, it's the team.
Absolutely. So what have you gone for? Sort of lower mid-table.
So 15th, I've got Fulham. I think they'll have a bit of a drop-off from last year. I think that speaks for itself. 14th, Bournemouth, who you also mentioned that stretch. And 13th, Nottingham Forest. I think that's more where, more middle table where they should be positioned rather than lower down. They're going to be nowhere near a relegation battle, looking strong.
Yeah, I've gone for Palace 12th. I think Palace are doing really, really good things. They're getting it right. You know, the development that they're doing there, they're getting it right. I think that the transfer strategy that they employ, they're getting it right. Generally speaking, I think Palace are secure in this mid-table positioning.
Well, it's funny you mention that because my 12th place is also Crystal Palace.
You've gone Palace 12th as well. Great minds, mate.
Eze and Elise. Keeping Elise's genius.
Yeah, how did they keep
Getting
him
him on a new contract. If he goes now, it's going to be stupid.
So annoyed. It's so annoying that he didn't come to Chelsea. I'm so
You've got
upset.
so many players though.
I know, but do you know what?
More?
Do you know Chelsea fans who are trying to spin it? No, but you know Chelsea fans who are trying to spin this Cole Palmer as if, we were desperate for Cole Palmer. Chelsea didn't want Cole Palmer. We wanted Elise, then we wanted Smith Rowe, and we've had to settle on Cole Palmer.
And to be honest, I don't know where his role is in the team.
It's
You've got Mudryk on the bench now consistently.
No, it's wild.
You're taking away from Madueke and Chukwuemeka. I guess he's injured, but he'll be back soon. It's a lot to talk about with Chelsea. That's for another story.
It's another story, yeah. I think West Ham are going to have a good season. I think that they're going to have, they've signed some very good players. I think that they're going to do well in Europe, but their European success, I'm not necessarily suggesting that they win the Europa because that might be a bridge too far for them.
Yeah.
But I think that they'll have a very good run, and I expect to see them in at least the quarterfinals. And remember, that competition is so arduous. Thursday, Sunday. It takes it out of some of the best teams.
It does.
And West Ham don't have the squad. They don't have the experience, really. So I think that they are going to struggle in the league, but I do think they'll have a good season. So I've got Brentford 10th. I've then got Villa 9th. 8th. I've got Chelsea.
Ooh, that's very low for Chelsea. Very low.
Man, I feel like I'm being optimistic,
Yeah.
It hurts me to say it. I can't believe I'm doing this, but I'm putting Tottenham Hotspur above Chelsea. I don't think I've ever done that in my life. I've never, ever had a situation where I believe Tottenham will finish above Chelsea, but everything that we've learned about Chelsea this season, this isn't about Pochettino, this is about our ownership, this is about Bowley and Clearlake.
Yeah.
I just don't think that we are capable of putting any kind of run together to suggest that we can finish any higher than 8th. And 8th off the back of last season, again, I hate saying this, but
you've got no other distractions. You're completely focused on the Prem.
Yeah, but look at our squad.
It's great. The squad's great. It doesn't adapt. It doesn't click.
It's not great. It's not. The
squad is
It's
good.
not a balanced squad. It's not a well put together squad.
I think the problem is you've not worked on the training ground enough to make the chemistry between the players.
Like
the
it's so
quality is
difficult,
there.
isn't it? Like we got rid of 13 players this window.
Yeah.
And we still have a bloated squad. In 1 week at Chelsea, 23 players came in and left in 1 week. That's an entire squad. In 1 7-day period of the summer at Chelsea, 23 was the revolving door. Some in, some out, but 23. That is bonkers.
I know.
How can you finish above 8th? Like, effectively, Mauricio Pochettino has been hamstrung here. Mauricio Pochettino, in 1 window at Chelsea, has spent more than he spent in 11 windows at Tottenham. And that sounds like a good thing, but that's terrible.
Yeah.
So I've got us 8th.
In 11th place, I've got West Ham. I think they've got a really good squad and they've almost strengthened as well, replacing Declan Rice with Edson Alvarez, James Ward-Prowse. They've got some great results so far, nearly at the top of the table, but when the Europa League games start happening, I think they'll focus on Europe and that will be a serious competition for them. I think they could even go on a run. They'll definitely get out the group. So I think they'll start to fall down the positions then and rotate the squad with David Moyes. I do worry about their forward positions. They've only got Antonio at the moment at centre forward. They sold Skamaka. They've got no backup.
Yeah.
They need to buy a striker in January for sure. 10th place, I've got Brentford because the Bees are unreal. And I actually think they could sneak into Europe at one stage of the season. But look, they've got no European distraction.
No.
And they've got a quality team. Ivan Toney comes back in January as well. We'll even get to the first 11 then. I don't even know. Then 9th place, I've got Aston Villa. They got Conference League coming on later, but really strong team. They've strengthened well, had a great window. Pau Torres, they got. It's almost like a new signing.
Diaby.
Yeah, Diaby as well, with the forward options of Ollie Watkins too.
Yeah,
They got loads of goals. And what's his name? Leon Bailey.
Yeah, good player.
Back to his best. It's like a new signing.
Yeah.
Brighton.
So you got Brighton in 8th.
Yeah, could be higher.
You've got Brighton where I've got Chelsea.
Yeah, that's crazy. But I think Brighton should be talked about potential top 6.
Yeah, I mean Brighton. I'm not giving too much away. But Brighton are in my top 6. So in 7th place, just above Chelsea.
Okay.
I've got Newcastle United.
Wow.
I don't think that's particularly bad. Remember, Eddie Howe is a year ahead of schedule.
They finished 4th.
They did, but they didn't have Champions League football to deal with.
Yeah, true.
And also, everything went right for them. Look, I think everything went right because Eddie Howe got everything right and they did so well. That intensity that they played with, but it isn't working at the moment. They concede a lot of goals.
They do.
Last year, they weren't conceding goals. They just weren't. They are conceding now an awful lot. People are finding a way through them and their centre-halves simply not good enough. There was a massive error in the transfer market.
Do you know what I've realised? In January, they're going to invest. They've got the budget. and they're going to realise that people have clocked onto their tactics and their plan, which they didn't have last year. Now Newcastle will go big in the transfer window. I think they'll sign a solid centre-back.
They need a centre-half, man.
So 7th place we agree on. And as you said, Newcastle, I think they'll drop off in the first few weeks, as you said, Champions League group stage games, but I don't think they'll make it through that group of death. Then they'll reinvest, and I think 7th place is a fair position for them. 3 off last year, but we have the same reasoning.
Fair. And who have you gone for above that then? Who have you got in 6th place?
You put Chelsea in 8th. I've got them in 6th. And I think you'll sneak...
Hope you're right, mate.
Yeah, which is a Europa League spot, gets you back in Europe, and I think you do very well in that competition. You have a young squad. You don't think the squad's strong enough. I think it does have the potential to be strong enough, but it needs some more experienced names, and it needs more time on the training ground. Poch hasn't got a plan B from the way I watch him play football, and that's worrying. For Poch being what he did at Tottenham and how he brought those young players in. But it takes time, doesn't it? That first season at Spurs, they had to give him space.
It does take time, but ultimately he doesn't really have time because Chelsea need to succeed. You know, if you think about the way that Bowley... This isn't my thoughts, by the way. This is just the way that the club's being run now. This is Bowley and Clearlake. The point of Bowley and Clearlake buying Chelsea is to make as much money on the club as possible. The way that you do that is to create a successful team, get a team in Europe. And ultimately, if Chelsea are looking like we won't be doing well, won't be getting into Europe, and I don't think we will, I just don't know. We have no data to understand how this board will act.
Well, it's a great time, international break, to come and just work on tactics and figure out.
So you think Chelsea's 6th, though?
Yes.
Come on.
Well, Newcastle Champions League, Brighton Europa League, Villa have conference. Chelsea have nothing but Prem. That's why I put them above them. Okay. Let's see at the end of the season. Maybe I'm wrong. Chelsea fans, I don't think it's all gloom and doom after that Forest result.
Right. Do you know who I've got in 6th?
Who?
Manchester United.
Wow, that's very low.
It's very low, but they're not very good.
Would you have said that if the Garnacho goal happened and they won 2-1?
I don't think Manchester United played well against Arsenal. I think they did okay at points. I think certain players played better than I anticipated.
It's just funny how football changes, isn't it?
No, it's a game of small margins. It's a game of small margins.
Sat here saying United could go on a title run if they beat Arsenal.
You know what? If the Garnacho goal had stood and they'd ended up winning that game, then I suppose you would have had to change it a bit because they would have gone to Highbury or wherever it is now, the Emirates, and taken 3 points. So that would be impressive in itself, but they didn't. They didn't. Combine that with the fact that they've already been battered by Tottenham. They were very lucky the week before. You know, they were 2-0 down after 4 minutes. And I have seen enough vulnerability in this Manchester United team to suggest that they finish well outside the top 4. I'm thinking that they're going to get 6th spot because I think Brighton will finish above them.
Wow.
Brighton are a better team.
Brighton?
Okay, answer me this one. And do you know what? You let me know this as well, please. Is Erik ten Hag a better manager than Roberto De Zerbi?
No. But the squad is stronger, I think.
Yeah, the squad might be stronger, but is the team stronger? Is the team overall stronger? Is the club more harmonious? Is everybody pulling in the same direction? And is the manager doing as good a job? Like, when we say
I see your point.
When we say the squad's stronger, when you look across the Manchester United team, there are enough some average players in that team.
100%. I agree. But let me ask you this. Let me throw this back at you. Manchester United finished 3rd last year.
They did.
Have they got a stronger or weaker team from that season?
They are possibly stronger, but I would also say that the teams that they are facing are stronger. And I think Champions League football is going to be arduous for them.
Because Brighton, on paper, have got weaker.
Yeah, but Brighton never get weaker.
They're incredible.
Brighton never get better. You take Potter out of their team, and everyone goes, they're in trouble, they get better. You take their player of the year out of the team, Cucurella, everyone says that they're knackered, they get better. You take Basuma out of the team, you say that they're knackered, they get better. They are the most perfectly run club, and I am not prepared to bet against Tony Bloom.
I think what you've done is you've got too excited after the Newcastle result. I think you've gone a little bit too far with that 5th. I thought I was being respectful.
So 6th Man United, 5th Brighton. Yeah, so now we're into top 4.
Yeah, so my 5th place is Manchester United. You put them in 6th. We made a big deal of it. I don't think they'll make Champions League this year.
So you don't think they're that much better than I think?
No, I don't. Okay. But to put them below Brighton is the big statement.
Yeah, that's true.
And I've got Brighton fairly lower because of the distractions. And we don't know how that's going to come into terms with De Zerbi, how it's going to be like travelling with the camp. So all these questions will soon be answered. Let's go on to top 4 then,
This is it now. This is it.
Big moments.
This is heartbreaking for me.
Go on.
I don't like what I'm about to do. I don't know who I am anymore. My soul is crushed. But Tottenham Hotspur finished in the top 4.
Crazy.
They do,
but
aren't they?
I agree. I've also got...
Have you got them 4th?
Spurs in 4th.
I just don't see how they don't do it. They're looking so sharp. They've employed a manager who is in keeping with their traditions, which is so important.
Yeah,
vital. You need somebody who understands the club and plays in the traditions of the club. And Tottenham, as a fan base, I don't think there's anyone like it who genuinely demand free-flowing, expansive football. Yeah. You know the way they sing about Gareth Bale being born to play for Spurs, and they love singing about Glenn Hoddle. Players like that is what they want. Football like that is what they want. And they've finally employed a manager. Think about how they've done it over the recent years. They had the best attack, one of the best attacks in the league. They had the best striker in the league. And they employed Nuno Espirito Santo, Antonio Conte, and Jose Mourinho. The three most defensive-minded managers in the world. You know, all looking after Son, Kane, and Bale at various points.
There's players that just scream Tottenham Hotspur, right? And we've seen that in the past with players like Gaza. Maddison is the new Gaza. He is filling the boots. Harry Kane's gone, and they look stronger. And that is not just Ange, it's working in the new players, figuring out how to make everyone happy. Son is back to his best. Ange has made it work. Mickey van der Ven, great scouting. Good. I don't think he was from Werder Bremen or Wolfsburg, one of the two in Bundesliga. He was good there, but how confident to come into the Premier League straight into centre-back at his age and dominate that position.
It's Postecoglou, isn't it?
It's the manager. So both of us, as you said, it's painful. Not for me. I just enjoy the Premier League being neutral, and it's going to be great to see him get back in the Champions League race.
Who have you gone for third?
Third, do you know what? I'm going to be real. It's Liverpool.
That's what I've done.
No way.
Yeah.
Well, I think a lot of people would put them lower, but after watching them how they play against Villa, you can see Salah's going to stay there at least till January, which is important. If Salah leaves in January, you move the place a few more down. Yeah. But Dominic is already scoring Szoboszlai from
Nunes looking like a man possessed.
Yeah. They've got what they had before. Jurgen Klopp is the answer. Yeah. He brings everyone together, solid team. Endo in at number 6. That was a big problem for them at the start of the season. It's like they've done their business very late, but I think they've done enough to maintain top 4.
Yeah, I've gone for Liverpool here, but I do think that Liverpool, in terms of saying like one place above Tottenham, of course that's what it is in terms of the league table. Yeah. But I think that Liverpool are going to be far closer to the top 2. I think there'll be a bit of a divide. Yeah. I think there'll be a bit of a divide. I think Tottenham will comfortably get top 4, but they will be 10 points behind Liverpool.
I think also, you've got to remember Liverpool, we're usually talking about Champions League distraction.
They haven't got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they haven't got it.
Especially the groups, the sort of teams they'll be playing, they can rotate the players, bring in a few youth guys, and they'll still get results.
Right, so this is the moment. The fun bit. This is the moment. Do you know what? We don't need to say second. Let's just say top.
Yes.
Okay, on 3, who wins the league? 1, 2, 3,
Arsenal. City. What?
Gone for Arsenal. I think they'll win it. Nobody's won the league.
Your mind.
No. Nobody's won the league 4 times in a row for a reason. Why has nobody, think of the glorious teams, the glorious Arsene Wenger team, the glorious Alex Ferguson team, the glorious Jose Mourinho team. Tell me this, riddle me this. Why has nobody won it 4 times in a row? Because it's really hard. Because it's almost
Pep Guardiola is breaking football.
Pep Guardiola is redefining the game, I agree.
And with Haaland, he's never been stronger. I think the team is perfect right now. That's why they're the only team in all English leagues, from League 2 to the Premier League, to have perfect form to today. And I don't see anybody stopping them. Arsenal have already been stopped by Fulham at home.
Yes, but
it's not even comparable, mate. But I'm sorry, you came on predictions and said Arsenal, they're going to win enough 1-0 wins. They went and had a 2-2 draw to Fulham.
Arsenal's season hadn't started then. Arsenal's season started in the 90th minute of the 4th game.
Rory, what winds me up is you're going to go after this and make another 20 videos saying Arsenal, why they're in a title race, why they're going to get the title.
They are going to.
But mate, you can't do it every week. What did you say after Fulham? Title race over.
No,
That's what it should have been.
No, it wasn't title race over. Look, Arsenal shouldn't have dropped points at home to Fulham. Far from it. But I think that Arsenal, the Arsenal that we will see off the back of what they did to Manchester United, Declan Rice pulling the ball down, pinging it in, the Emirates going mad, North London forever, right, ice, baby playing. The club's season, Arsenal season, and I know that Arsenal fans feel like this. My cousin, he's a cab driver. He's an Arsenal season ticket holder. Their season didn't start when everyone else's did. It started in the 90th minute of the 4th game of the season. They are now alive. Look, when we come back off the international break, Arsenal, if I'm correct, Arsenal need to go on a mad run, and I believe they will.
They have to.
They need to go on a mad run. They need to win.
I'm looking forward.
Win 8 out of 10.
To Etihad, turn up City away, and come away with 3 points. Cleanly.
A point.
Get the job done.
A point. Remember, they can't get anything against Man City, so they need to end that run. They cannot. I think Arteta was playing for Arsenal last time they beat City in the league. You know,
it's ridiculous. Yeah.
So they need to get something back. That has to stop.
Really, every year that's the difference.
Agreed, and I think it will. So have you gone City again?
I've gone City.
4 in a row, yeah?
4 in a row, and I went 3 in a row, and I predicted them all correctly. So why change something that is working? Don't. There we go. We disagree. I know that you've been very strong on that opinion.
I believe it. I believe
will
it.
see.
Look, just to clarify as well, I hope I'm wrong. I want City to win it. But his Arsenal team is sensational and Arteta's getting so much right. And when they get their midfield going, you know, when that midfield actually looks like this, Odegaard, Rice, Partey, one of the best midfields in the league.
I just wonder what you were thinking when Man United nearly won 2-1. In your head. Title race over.
But small
title
margins.
race over. That would have been the title of your video, no?
That would have been very. If that game had gone that way, it would have been huge.
Yeah.
But it didn't go that way.
Okay.
Arsenal were invigorated, and we'll see what happens. Thank you so much to Mr. Thogden for coming on his channel.
Subscribe to Rory.
Honoured.
Subscribe to
I'm
Thogden.
honoured.
Great to have you back on.
Thank you.
Honestly, we can't do this video every week, mate. Oh.
No, mate. I really do appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching. Please do us a favour, comment below. Let us know who do you think is going to win the league. Do you like the look of our tables? And like, you're the king of football YouTube. You don't need this, but subscribe to Thogden. If you obviously do already, but if you don't, subscribe to him.
Too kind, mate. Thanks for coming back.
Thank you so much, everyone. In a bit.
See you in a bit.